Welcome to Film Majors. I'm your host, William Stewart with the Hoosier Network, and this is a show breaking down film of Indiana sports or some of the biggest collegiate games in the country at the time, and we're going to learn why the game went the way it did. What we'll be studying today is Indiana football's first-round matchup in the college football playoff, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Roll it! Now, before we roll, what's worth noting is that Notre Dame hasn't played a team inside the top 50 of total offense and total defense yet this season. They've played teams inside the top 50 on one side of the ball, whether it's offense or defense, but not both. Indiana is top 10 in both. The closest team is Louisville, who was top 30 offensively and top 60 defensively. Notre Dame only won that game by 7. Now, granted, that was a lot earlier in the season. Like I said, the Hoosiers are top 10. Defensively, they're number 2 in the country. Offensively, they're top 20. But first off, let's go into what Notre Dame looks like with that top 40 offense. Now, what they run is a spread offense. You see it here. You got the 5-0 lineman. You've got 2 receivers set. You got a tight end up top. And then you've got this QB, Riley Leonard, a senior transfer who runs the ball really well and extends here. This cuts off, but he stepped out of bounds, which is why that cut off. Now, he's got 124 carries for 700 yards on the year. That's 2/3 of his offensive production is on the ground. He scrambles a lot, but occasionally there's QB design runs in the red zone. But the biggest offensive threat for Notre Dame is number 4, the running back, Jeremiah Love. He runs hard, he's a playmaker, he's physical, and the patience right there is just gorgeous. Linemen are all bunched up, and he gets around to get a nice gain there for Notre Dame. And this is just the highlight play of the week that he had 2 weeks ago against USC. Hurdles a man on the screenplay, and just playmaker. The thing is, it extends deeper into the backfield. Jadarian Price on this touchdown, you saw the burst, you saw the speed. He's quick through the hole. Very, very quick. He's a junior running back who also has 700 yards on the year and only 90 carries. But let's go back to Riley Leonard and his how dangerous he is on the ground. Roll this back a little bit. And you see, first off, you've got a man in motion here, right? Tight end comes up, and he's running. He's going to try to find out if they're in man. Obviously, Leonard's going to see that. He sees all these, corners are 2 yards off the line here, right? Goes in motion, and then you've got Leonard. He's checking everything out. Sees the corner start to roll back. He knows it's a rollout play. The tackle here has this lineman totally blocked out of the play. Leonard continues to roll out, makes a play with his legs, finds the wide open man on 3rd and 4. Crucial down on this drive for Notre Dame. Now back to earlier in the second quarter, this is Leonard again extending. But here's the issue that he can have. He extends so far back out of the pocket, and he gets scared if any pressure shows up. This pocket is secure. Running back, everybody is picking up. All these linemen here, they're all picking somebody up. See the running back inside. He's got his man securely blocked. It's a great block by that junior running back, 20. The thing is, he saw pressure and he ran. He's done that a lot. Not just in this game against USC. It's consistent over the course of the season. But his skills as a passer, he doesn't have that many passing stats to boast, but he can make the throws when necessary. You see this gorgeous ball that he throws to his tight end, Raritan. Dropping back, it's obvious man coverage. He sees the mismatch with a linebacker. An athlete such as Raritan, he's outran guys before on film, and he does it here in the red zone. He runs straight by that defender, and there you go, fade ball perfectly. You can't throw that ball anywhere else if you're Riley Leonard. Now, Raritan makes an athlete play, goes up and gets it at the point of attack. Doesn't totally use his hands to catch the ball, but he caught the touchdown, right? So who's really going to complain? But there's not much space other than maybe 3 yards of separation right there near the sideline. Now, next play, another fade ball. It's just a gorgeous play all around. It's Leonard dropping back again, stands in the pocket confidently, hits a strike to his tight end, to Mitchell Evans, who's been a crucial target, the second leading pass catcher on this team, and a gorgeous play there to get into the end zone. You can't make that up, how perfect of a ball that was, right over the outreached arms of the USC defender. So Leonard can not only beat you on the ground, but he can also beat you in the air. Granted, over half of this team's offensive production has come from the run game. but it can't be stopped, which you see on a play just like this. The Notre Dame offensive line has weaknesses. The right tackle isn't the most powerful, but you see they're blocking a wide receiver right here. This is not a tight end, not an H-back, even though he's sitting at the position. That's a receiver that's ran in. He gets beat. Guy makes the tackle. But you see how many USC defenders are on this line. It's a 4-down lineman. 2 guys in the outside backers, and they're all able to crash down and make it into the play. Now, for some reason, these linebackers are playing in the end zone. I'm not USC's defensive coordinator. I wouldn't tell them to do that. But, hey, they got the stop anyways. Notre Dame would go on to score, I think, a couple plays later on another designed run for Riley Leonard. But here's the biggest issue with their offense is the drops. Receivers dropping passes, especially later in the season. Now, this is film for Virginia. I was using highlight film from USC because there's not going to be drops in it. There's drops in this game against Virginia. There's drops against Army, which is the week after this. And there's drops kind of have been a problem really all season for the Notre Dame receiving corps. It's comprised of a lot of transfers who don't have a lot of yards combined. Leonard's favorite targets are the tight ends, but they only combined for roughly 600 yards on the season. And Leonard's only got, I think, 2,000 passing yards. But what Notre Dame is very good at, and what Marcus Freeman has introduced to this team, is trick plays. You see it on this punt right here. Fake punt. It did get called back, but it's not for any holding. It's not for any reason you'd think. It's for an illegal formation. But get this. It's for the offensive line only having, you see it, 1, 2 guys numbered between 50 and 79. The rule is you have to have at least 4, if not 5 guys on the field at all times wearing a number between 50 and 79. Not my rule. I didn't make it. Really interesting rule, but it's in a rule book. You should know it. Running a trick play that works as well as that one did. I think Coach Jason Garrett called it the fumble Ruski. He was on color for the call. But the only thing is, that's not their only trick play. They introduced one last week against USC. And this time it's a fake pass. The tight end on the bottom side of the screen going out for the pop pass gets them an easy first down. But look at where they're running these trick plays too. This is on their own 25-yard line in the second quarter. That's psychotic, if anything. That's insane coaching. And even the one before, they're on their 27. I mean, that's Dan Campbell stuff. That's ridiculous out of Penn State and Marcus Freeman. But USC isn't even expecting it. You're thinking this is a jet sweep. You got a guy over here. But no, the tight end on the backside, wide open, 15, smart enough to get back there and eventually make the tackle. But that's their special teams. That's some trick plays they've ran. Let's look at the defense. Very consistently, they've got 4-down linemen here. Always got at least 2 linebackers, if not a third. Now, this is 1st and 10 from the plus 50. It's an obvious passing situation. They've got 5 over top, and they're all in tight coverage, actually, except for the safety back here playing 10 yards off. What do you expect? The other thing, Notre Dame is constantly in man coverage. I could not find a play where they were in zone coverage. But the thing they do very well, that front 4 is dangerous. Now, they're missing starters. There's 5 defensive starters that have been out for the season. Howard Cross III, arguably one of the best defensive tackles in the season, has been out for the past 2 months. And he's been starting for Notre Dame for the last 4 years, and he's been their consistent starter for the last 2. He's been a black hole in the run game for Notre Dame. And on this first play, you see this pitch that USC tried to run. You see the discipline from the Notre Dame linebackers and the edges. They're able to swarm and stop that almost dead in its tracks. The next play, you've got USC figuring out their man. This is earlier in the game, even though it's on tape that USC really only runs man, or Notre Dame really only runs man coverage. The thing about this play is how physical Notre Dame's defensive backs can be. A lot of athletes. The one thing to note is 29, the guy who makes this physical tackle right here, he's young. So is a lot of this Notre Dame defense that's in the secondary. What really makes up the top 10 defense that Notre Dame has is that front 7 that has all that experience, including Howard Cross III. Later on in the game, which is just a little later, it's 3rd down. Easy passing situation here, and Notre Dame dials up a blitz. Almost every 3rd down I've watched in Notre Dame, they dial up a blitz play. We'll watch it back again just to identify it. Instead of the 4 down, you've got this extra linebacker here. That's your 5th lineman. He's making it pretty glaringly obvious. And even Zero here, their middle backer, he's within 4 yards of the line of scrimmage. That screams obvious blitzer to the quarterback. Now, sophomore quarterback for USC is a young guy. He's getting his first rep since Miller Moss got benched 3 games ago. And Notre Dame knew that. They were going to attack him, which they did. And here it is again. It's just a great blitz by Notre Dame. They outnumber him. 87 can't find Zero because he's just a faster athlete. Next thing you know, quarterback's running, can't find a receiver downfield. Now, here's where the young physical DBs can get beat. I want you to watch this matchup right here. This is 29 again. He got picked on a lot against USC and has gotten picked on. The thing is, he sometimes can't even make you pay, which happens in this USC game. He tries to press 8. Big physical receiver. He just gets beat off the line. There you go. There's a touchdown. Not to mention the safety here completely overran it. Should be in the, well, he should be in the frame. You can see him a little bit up here on the right side of the screen. He should relatively stay around this right hash going up the field, right? That's what you expect there in cover 2 man. You've got 2 high safeties that are going to end up in man coverage. You see 8. The thing is, there's a post route that was totally wide open here that the quarterback could have hit. Instead, he hits that kind of seam route, and Zero's playing in the corner of the end zone. Young DBs, there's not totally a lot of experience, and it burns them, especially in this USC game. In this USC game, it's the most points they allowed and the most yards they allowed. It's like 500 yards, and they let up 35 points on defense. But here it is again. Another press play, wide open receiver downfield. And what's even worse about this one is this was probably supposed to be man coverage. You see the corner at the bottom of your screen, half of the screen at least, he's bailing. This corner here, this is 29 again, his eyes are in the backfield. He's clear as day. His eyes are here and here. He's trying to make a run read or something because he sees it's play action. But he thinks it's a run, and there you go, receiver up the sideline. Wide open hole shot for him. There's another chunk play for USC. They keep the momentum. And here it is again. I mean, it's just the man routes beat USC. Stands in the pocket, crosser over the middle, and this time out of the slot. The man defense can get Notre Dame beat. And with receivers like Indiana's who run routes really well, especially in the red zone like that play there, Indiana can put up points in the passing game, especially with some of the best passing in the country. And here it is, back to the young DB, an obvious pass interference call. 29 couldn't run with 8. We showed that earlier in the season, and there's the replay angle of it. He just grabs him. Now, it's smart to grab him instead of let up a touchdown, but 29 is such a good athlete, he probably could have ran with him. And here's another play of somebody getting beat. It's actually a really good play by the Notre Dame defense. They send pressure. The pocket starts to sort of collapse. 14 knows he has to get the ball out, finds his number 1 option, and throws up a prayer, really, on 3rd down. But it's just a great play there by the receiver. And, I mean, one matches up with that guy physically, but sometimes better offense. And here's the last play. This is what I'm talking about with the DBs being able to recover. This ends up being a pick 6. 29 getting his head around. He kind of gets beat on the shot, but gets his head around, takes it back for 6. That kind of blew the game open late. You see it. It's 4th quarter, 3 minutes to go. And that was it for Notre Dame USC because there was another pick 6 when USC tried to drive. Garbage time touchdown, but that's it. We're going to cut it right there. Now, the takeaways for Notre Dame and how they match up with Indiana. They're a great rushing team. Like I said, over half their total yards come from on the ground in their offense. Luckily for Indiana, it's the best rushing defense in the country. They let up 70 yards a game on the ground. In the Big Ten, that's absurd. And not in the passing offense, Riley Leonard can make the throws, but not at a volume. He drops back when he needs to. But the drops are also an issue for Notre Dame's offense. Now, on the defensive side, it's physical and that's athletic, like we just saw. But they're down those 5 starters like we talked about, and Howard Cross III, their best defensive lineman, arguably a draft prospect, hasn't played in a game in over a month. Now, he was possibly back for the USC game. He didn't suit up, but he's going to be back for the Indiana game, which could easily dictate how the run game goes. It's going to be the number 9 defense in the country versus a top 25 offense in the country, and 2 that are powered on the defense that stops the run and an offense that kind of builds off the run. But the DBs for Notre Dame, they're young. They're going to make mental mistakes like we just went over, but that ability to recover is bar none. Coach Marcus Freeman has kind of emphasized on it. He did post-game, and even the DBs themselves talked about it after the USC game. Coach Friedman has kind of hammered it into them to just have a short memory and go make the next play, which they'll do. They had 2 pick sixes to end that game. Now, the playoff game on December 20th at Notre Dame Stadium, it's going to be physical and it's going to be low scoring. Like I said, it's two rushing offenses against top rushing defenses. It's going to come down to whose passing attack ends up being better. Curtis Rourke is marginally a better passer than Riley Leonard. Now, it's going to be a fun watch, but it'll be low scoring, especially if those passing attacks don't make the constant plays. But I would count on Indiana being the state championship matchup that it is. It feels like an extension of the Indiana high school state playoffs, but this is just at a bigger stage, right? But that's all for film majors. Indiana's going to have an interesting week against Notre Dame. I'm William Stewart. Thank you for joining me. And now, since it's Care Week this week, I want you guys, the students, to let me know if there's a conference championship game that you want to break down during finals week, or we can preview a different playoff matchup or a different opponent. Let me know. You guys have a great week, and God bless.